Hey. Hey, trying to figure out who the hold this was.
So no, and actually, if you could, like, you could still talk. Can you talk like you was just talking? Okay, if you don't mind, thank you. So you repeat that. So what do you think? What does it sound like I'm saying?
It sounded like you were saying that you don't even deal with this person.
Yeah.
Until 30, 60, 90 days. Like, you just holler at them, hey, what's up? What you been up to?
That's how I took it. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to hear from you for like a month. Like, we talking.
Right.
But you just going to check in. That's cool if that's how it's going to be. Right. But the way you made it sound like, yo, you going to come into town this weekend.
Yeah,
we going to kick it. You going to leave.
And then it'll be another 30 to 90 days.
That's how I took it.
So that makes sense.
I think, you know, without trying, we always kind of had that conversation in that time frame.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, because to me, we'll call it the 90-day check-in. To me, the 90-day check-in is basically, we've been talking, but a lot of times, like, if we're dating, let's say we're dating, we're not talking like on deep levels on, okay, how can we fix our relationship? We ain't talking about that.
Yeah, why not?
Not all the time though.
But you gonna talk about it, you know what I'm saying?
Every 90 days.
No, not every 90 days.
Basically.
No, I don't want to have that conversation every 90 days. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're doing now. And this should last us a year. You know,
that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So this is the thing. So I feel like, and I can only speak from my own experience in relationships and what I've only been through. So I can't speak for everybody. But I feel like some of the downfalls of my past relationships were that we weren't communicating enough. So I may do something that pisses you off. And I don't know it pisses you off. You didn't communicate it because you didn't want to cause for us to, you know, maybe even have that talk. Like you said, well, we talked about it last year. Well, it wasn't that big of a deal, but if I did it that one time and I don't know, that means I may repeat it, right? So if I'm repeating something that pisses you off or makes you upset or makes you feel a certain kind of way, well, I'm repeating that and we're not talking for a whole year. Now you feel some kind of way and I don't even know.
Nah. It's not like that. Okay. So if you do something I don't like, I have to know it's okay for me to say, hey, I didn't like that.
Okay.
Because you could have done something I didn't like before and I said, hey, Candace, I don't really like that. And you went off.
Right.
And so now I don't really want to talk about it because I know every time I bring up something, you're going to take it the wrong way. So I think you need to make that expectation is that, hey, listen, there's something that I do that you don't quite like. Go ahead and tell me now because 60 days, I don't want to talk about it.
Right. Well, I get that. So you're saying the 60-day could be a prolonged thing, so you should communicate effectively all the time. But if that's the thing though, it's not happening. You can be in a relationship and this person could be doing something and you mentioned it and you may have said something or you may not have said anything. Most times people not saying nothing. They just like sitting back and just saying it's gonna be okay and they're just taking it. I'm serious. They're just taking it. And you may not be that person, but in my past relationships, that's just what happened. Okay. So even myself, like I'm just like, all right, cool. I really didn't care for that, but I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to cause an argument, and I call it a disagreement or us to have a different kind of conversation.
I like those arguments though.
So let me ask y'all this.
Because makeup, right?
I'm allowed to talk. Let me ask y'all this.
Okay.
First of all, this is Corey Wilson, producer.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Dream Machine. Do you think if you speak on issues continuously, it makes you look like a certain type of person?
I feel that if I'm speaking on an issue all the time, then it may sound like I'm nagging, right? And ain't nobody want no nagging female.
I mean, they can go both
ways.
Or
male, right? And just don't want nobody nagging you all the time, right? So with that, I do feel like that you can sound like you're nagging, but if we have a conversation about something and you don't change the actions that you're giving, personally, I'm not going to keep talking about it. I'm going to bring it up in our 90-day check-in. I'm just saying. I'm going to bring it up and then I'm done with it because I'm going to write it down. I'm going to be like, all right, these are my little mental notes and I got my own little form because calendar I'm structured. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I put it in there and I'm like, all right, cool. Because I'm adding up. If I keep telling you the same thing, why do I have to keep saying the same thing? You're not listening to me.
So let me ask you this. You shouldn't have let me.
Yeah.
So how do you not turn into a passive aggressive person holding all of this in for 3 months? And then...
But it's not. I'm communicating throughout the time. But sometimes things aren't communicated. Like if I'm busy and we hadn't really went out, we don't go out as much as we used to. Well, I mean, it's tax season, right? Let me teach you how to live, a tax-free life. But with that, right? So let's say we hadn't gone out a lot, and it's the 3rd month. So I'm just like, hey, babe, anything I need to work on or whatever? Because I'm not asking you all the time if I need to work on something. Not all the time. Just every 90 days, which is 4 times a year.
No, man, no.
That's 4 times a year that I can ask, can I get better?
No.
It could be anything.
I just think it happens. It's a progression. So if we're having challenges now, let's address those challenges now.
Okay.
So they're no longer challenges. Because if I get, I'm dating you and I figure out, all right, every 90 days, 60 days, we're going to have a deeper conversation about our relationship. Mm-hmm. So by that point, I got so much I want to say that I'm missing all the other points.
But I think that you're taking it as if I'm saying we're only gonna talk deep then.
No, that's what you said though.
Well, deep means how can we progress? But if it's something
we talk about that
happened, every day. No, I don't think we talk about it every day.
Really?
No, we talk about how was your day.
No, we have challenges. So if we have challenges in our relationship, and it's not to be addressed when those challenges are happening. So you didn't like something that I did, and you just gonna sit back. Just because it didn't work before, where you said something, like you shouldn't go into the new situation that same way. Just go ahead and address it because maybe that last person wasn't able to receive that information that you were given.
Okay.
Early on.
So you're saying that the 90-day check-in may be good for one type of man, but not a different type of man.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's taking too long. I want 90 days. I want punishment or something.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
not.
Come to the principal's office. Hey, Annias, I didn't like the way you did this, okay? How can you make it better? No, we gotta talk about it earlier.
Okay, you know what? Sometimes I don't feel like, because I'm trying to think of situations to why I would not say anything. Like I'm not a passive person.
Okay.
not at all.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about a situation. So at the time, one of my past relationships, he had a child. His child's and his baby's mother, they were going through their thing, right? And I don't get deep into that. We talk about it, but I don't get deep into it, right? Mm-hmm. So at that time, I didn't really care for the way he addressed the situation. But, and I talked to him and I navigated it through it with him, giving ideas, talking about stuff, but I didn't care for the way he went about it. At that time, it wasn't the time for me to say that. It wasn't the time for me to jump in and be like, well, you could have maybe thought about it this way or did this way, whatever. It wasn't the time for me to critique him because it was already enough going on. Mm-hmm. So to me, that wasn't the time to do that, but I will talk about it later as we reflect on what happened in the past 90 days.
Okay.
That's a time where I'm not going to say anything right now. It's not the time. It's already enough going on, and mm-hmm. we need to be strong as a unit mm-hmm. because you're already dealing with a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I can understand certain situations when it's like super super heavy, right?
Right.
But if I'm waiting, for me, I think I need to address it now so I don't forget it. Because now it's just irritating me. Because I didn't say something about it earlier. And okay. I think it's situational. So maybe your 90-day thing is situational.
Okay,
so,
there we go. So we can agree to disagree on that. All right.
I don't know what that agree to disagree means, but it's situational.
I think it's necessary to me. You think it's situational. So we agree that it could be a part of a relationship, but we may use it in a different way. That's what you're saying?
Is that what I'm saying?
I'm asking because you said you don't understand what agree to disagree means.
I don't like that. That's just annoying. That
really?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
It's just like you're over with it. We're not done with it. We still need to finish it. So we can agree to disagree.
We can agree that we're not going to see eye to eye on this topic.
But the topic isn't finished.
I feel like we're done with it.
See, you feel like you're done with it,
so
but
you
I'm
don't
not
feel like
done
we're
with
done?
it.
Okay,
no.
so what else you want to talk about?
No, but I don't want to talk about that. No, you know what I'm saying? We agree to disagree.
Just in general.
Just don't. It's like you're dismissing.
Yeah. Okay.
What's going on. Let's just agree to disagree. I don't like that because I disagree. So let's go ahead and figure out how we can agree.
But what if we don't agree? Because people are different. Like if you're in a relationship, I'm not gonna act like you. You're not gonna act like me. So I can't think that we're gonna always agree.
Yeah, but we're not gonna agree to disagree.
Okay, there it is. So that's how he feels about it. Because I don't know. I just feel like I don't agree, but he feels like we should agree.
Yeah.
I ain't starting with you.
No,
Whatever.
but I do think in order for it to be productive and move in the right direction, that you do have to agree.
Okay.
This is how we're moving, and when you agree to disagree, you're not really doing that. You're just pushing it off to another time.
Because you feel like it's gonna come up again.
Because it will come up again.
Okay.
Because you're not bringing a resolution to the challenge.
I may be able to agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you should. You should agree. No disagree.
All right, cool. So this is the thing. I feel like in any relationship, communication is everything. Mm-hmm. So if that's a thing, right? And if everybody doesn't have the same kind of communication strategies, they don't have the same kind of personalities are a thing, all of that. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, I feel like my 90-day check-in concept kind of helps with that. Even if you don't communicate well and you don't express yourself well, maybe like myself or you, then you can still be able to use that concept in your relationship, in your life, or whatever you're doing, to have that moment of communication that's just open and raw. Like, we can just talk.
Okay, what do you think about, because everybody isn't great at communicating their emotions,
right?
So what do you think about like letters or emails or text messages?
Absolutely
with doing that?
Love letters.
Really?
Like, I love letters. Yeah. That's a thing for me. And now people all in my business, but I'm gonna tell them letters are a thing, because if you in this day and age, text messages are the new conversation, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so that's watered down. You don't get to always express yourself all the way through, but I believe that letters, you're able to write it out and put it on paper, and if you took out the time to take your hand and a pen or pencil and write on a piece of paper, that meant something, and you were very intentional. So I think letters are great. What about you? What do you think?
Do I gotta wait 90 days for my letter? Like, can it be like, like this week, I don't like this, or I like these things. That's good this week.
I think that if people have problems communicating, maybe writing a letter or sending an email. I'm not an email type person. I don't think I'd do that. But if they have problems communicating, those are other ways. But eventually, even if you write it and then you read it to them, once you start practicing communication, I think that would be really nice.
That's sweet. That's real soft, girl. Write it and read it. I'm gonna read it to you. I was having these issues. If I wrote it down, you just read it. That's double work for me.
It's a relationship. It is work.
It's double work. I already wrote it down. Read it. Interpreting. Let's talk about it.
No, because I can always go back and read that letter.
Yeah, you got it. So go back and read it. Right. And then we can talk about the letter I wrote. But I don't want to write it in and read it to you.
I was just saying, if they had problems communicating, you see what I'm saying? Like, we are just not here. If they had problems communicating, it could be a thing for you to write the letter and then just read it to them, and that's your way of expressing. If your person, let's say you're a communicator out loud, like you're talking, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like to talk and express myself, let me just write it, then we could agree that, well, honey, you could write the letter, but you read it to me, and then I'll still take it, but you read it to me so we can at least have the dialogue. And I feel like that's a way to break the ice to where you're meeting in the middle. Because personalities are a thing. You don't agree?
This is agreement.
Okay, that's agreement. You didn't say anything, though.
I was looking. I was digesting.
Listen, let me tell you. Like, to me, these are real conversations that people should really have. And they're not really happening. And that's the reason we're going to bring a whole lot of different dynamics to the show. And we're really wanting to get to the point to where the conversations that are not being had, what do they call them? Taboo conversations? I don't know. Maybe we can call it that. Those kind of conversations that are not being had, we can talk about it. And I feel like it's going to be able to help some people. What you think?
I think so. Definitely. Especially from my point of view. That's the point of view that we need. It's going to be a real unapologetic conversation about relationships and how you should approach relationships, not a 90-day check-in.
Thank you all so much for watching.
No shame.
I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with this fabulous guy. Like, how did we get here, right? You're right. You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. And thank you so much for being on the show. You see, ladies, you see what I just did? I didn't argue with him and tell him he was full of it at this moment. I just let you. in 90
Put it on my
days.
calendar. 90 days is
No,
hear about
what
it
I'm
now.
saying is it's just not the time.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, not just personal. What about business wise?
Oh, absolutely.
So do you still have those same type of check-ins there?
Actually, I believe that when you're learning how to live a tax-free life, right, you actually should every 90 days. I just realized this. Oh my God. I think I have a problem, right? Just kidding. No, every 90 days, if you want to live a tax-free life, you should actually do a check-in with your tax professional or your tax professional, your financial advisors. You should really check in and see how things are going in your financial life and to make sure that you're doing okay. We call it tax planning.
Okay.
And that should be happening very often. 90 days or, every 90 days. Yeah.
So like every quarter?
Every quarter. Yeah.
Every quarter, huh?
That's about 3-4 times, three times a year.
That's how you do every quarter.
Every quarter. You could do your check-in every quarter.
Yeah, you do it every quarter.
Let me tell you something. If you're not paying attention to something, it can just slip through your hands. And it could just be going to crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can. So I feel like the same thing happens to your finances. If you're not paying attention to your finances and really realizing where your money's going, or that every time you turn around you're swiping your money for food, whatever's going on, right? If you're not paying attention to it, it just gets away from you. I've talked to clients and I'll say, you know what, you made $120,000 this year. Where did it go? And they tell me, I don't know. And when they say I don't know, that means that they're not paying attention. So I feel like the same thing happens in relationships. When you're not paying attention to your relationship and you're not putting that intentional time in it, it can slip through your fingers and then it's over before you realize it.
I'm glad you made that point. Because that's the issue. 90 days, I've already spent way too much money. I've wasted way too much money in 90 days. But if you catch me in that first week, that second week, you've saved me a lot of time and money. So maybe have a more consistent checkup.
Okay. We'll work on it. We'll talk about it because I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that.
Yeah.
So since Annias is being all great and we're glad that he's on the show, right? And we're doing this together. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you all so much for watching. We want to get your comments. Like, tell us what you think about the 90-day check-in. Tell us if you don't like it, if you like it. Give us your thoughts. Comment below and also subscribe because we have so many great videos coming. It's gonna be amazing. Tate's gonna give us the inside scoop on how he thinks about stuff because we just don't understand. Like, we don't agree, right? He's gonna give us some stuff.
Yes, sir. We don't
That's
agree.
his thing.
Yes, we do. We agree on it all. Exactly.
But it's really great. So thank you all for watching. And as I always say, Tate, can you say it with me since we're gonna start doing this together?
Now let's change something else.
No, I'm saying this.
No.
So we'll see each and every one of you at the top because the bottom is way too crowded. What would you say? What you gonna change it to? See, that's what I'm talking about.
Don't even worry about the bottom. We all at the top. Oh!
Coffee in the coffee, coffee in the coffee. Coffee in the coffee, coffee in the coffee.